Well, what is happening in the Sahel is certainly very, very interesting. Those three countries, the alliance who form the alliance of Sahel states, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, have actually made arrangement to stop depositing their foreign reserves in the Central Bank of France. And indeed, Burkina Faso has even gone on, to print its own currency, I'm told. Now, Niger has taken full control of the exploitation of its mineral resources, mainly uranium and also gold. Burkina Faso has even gone on to establish a gold refinery, so its gold is no longer exported to France as it used to be. It's about to be refined in Burkina Faso and so on. Now, these are interesting developments. Interesting developments because these measures ought to be have been taken at independence in order to break, the colonial link between these states and the colonialists, France, the colonial power, France. What is shocking is that other West African states who suffer excessively from neo-colonialism, whose economies are collapsing, in whose countries inflation is rising, in whose countries people's access to social services are becoming increasingly limited, and so on, have decided to subvert these three states because they're breaking away from French control. I mean, it's crazy. It's unbelievable. You can't believe it. One of the heads of states, who unfortunately happens to be our own head of state in Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, actually went to Anthony Blinken, to seek assistance to destabilize Burkina Faso. You cannot believe it. But this is the general state of affairs in the region. One of the other significant things is also that these three countries are battling insurgents, mainly Islamic insurgents. All of these three countries are battling insurgents. And the insurgents receive substantial international assistance. In fact, only recently, the security boss in Ukraine actually admitted publicly that they were providing assistance to the insurgents because Russia was assisting the legitimate governments there. Now, this affront to the independence of Sahel states and African states has gone unpunished by the AU. It's gone unpunished by SADC. It's gone unpunished by ECOWAS. I would have thought that this should be regarded as a major affront for a country like Ukraine to be meddling in West African affairs and be providing intelligence and military support to insurgents in West Africa. But we are quiet. Nothing is happening. It has not been met with condemnation. You understand? And I'm worried about that. I mean, these puppet regimes that we have in West Africa and other parts of Africa clearly are not interested in protecting the interest of the people in West Africa, in the Sahel, and in Africa generally. And I'm deeply worried, by that. The other thing which is significant is that many of the countries in the region, in West Africa especially, are themselves becoming victims of Islamic insurgency, or so-called Islamic insurgency. The northern part of Benin has been attacked. Togo has been under attack, by these same insurgents. They struck in La Côte d'Ivoire a couple of years ago, and so on. And Ghanaian intelligence sources say that Ghana is not completely immune, and that some of these insurgents have actually set up what they call sleeping cells in Ghana, and so on. So it would have been sensible if all of these authorities, security authorities in all of these countries had united, with the security authorities in Mali, in Burkina Faso, and Niger to combat this threat, which is spreading and so on. Unfortunately, we haven't done so. And are rather subverting, these three countries and so on. Now, for me, one other important dimension is that next week, progressive forces in Africa, mainly trade unions, women's organizations, youth organizations, socialist movements and parties, and communist parties and so on, are holding a big event in the capital of Niger in solidarity with the Sahel states. You understand? And this promises to be a major event, a really big event of solidarity, to show solidarity to the people of these three countries who are rallying behind their governments in protest against neo-colonialism, who are rallying behind their government to dismantle the neo-colonial structures, who are rallying behind their governments to dismantle foreign military bases in West Africa. Now, you won't believe it. I mean, the U.S. had this largest drone base in the West, in Niger. The largest drone base in the world was in Niger. Niger has dismantled that. All the three countries have expelled, foreign troops from their soil. I mean, Western troops from their soil, okay? Now, as a result of that, the Western countries are beginning to look up to other countries in the sub-region, mainly Ghana, La Côte d'Ivoire, and Benin. In fact, NATO is seeking to establish drone bases in Ghana, Niger, and La Côte d'Ivoire, and has asked for permission to do so. Now, it is up to the citizens of these three countries to resist that, to say no to foreign military presence on our soil, and to resist that with all the force that we can command. And in doing so, we need to learn important lessons from Niger, from Mali, and from Burkina Faso. I am very, very confident that the peoples of the Sahel and West Africa, Sahel and West Africa are not coterminous. The people of the Sahel and West Africa would work together to ensure that at least our region is free of foreign military bases, especially Western military bases, as soon as possible. And that should shine a light to the rest of Africa to dismantle all foreign military bases on our continent, as Kwame Nkrumah and others, wish. We will succeed. I mean, I have no doubt at all that we are going to succeed. We will succeed, and the neo-colonial regimes in our sub-region, the neo-colonial regimes in Africa, ought to realize that their time is up.